It was the fourth morning in a row that Mia boiled water in a rusted pot just to make the kitchen feel warmer. She stood barefoot in the center of what used to be her dream house, a fixer-upper turned half-finished graveyard of promises, the eviction. Notice was still taped to the fridge like a cruel trophy. Bright orange, bold font. Final warning. 2 weeks. That's all the bank had given her. Her husband Darren had promised her this place would be theirs. Said he'd take care of the mortgage. Said they were building a future. But 6 months ago, he'd vanished just up and disappeared with the savings, the passwords, and every piece of furniture worth pawning. He hadn't even taken his clothes, just left a voicemail. One line, "I can't do this anymore. You'll figure it out." That was it. Now Mia was 34, jobless, with no college degree, no car, and no help. Just a house with a leaky roof, a dead water heater, and 6 unopened envelopes from the mortgage company, each one heavier than the last. That morning, she opened the latest one. Inside, final foreclosure notice, a deadline, 15 days and a total balance due, $42,113.87. Her breath caught in her throat. She crumpled the paper and pressed her forehead to the cold countertop. She had 2 choices: fold, walk away like Darren had, maybe crash with her estranged sister in Nevada, find a way to keep the house, even if it meant begging, borrowing, or bleeding for it. And something inside her, something she thought Darren had drained years ago, flickered. She chose fight. Mia's first stop was the library, not because she needed books, but because it had free Wi-Fi, working heat, and silence that didn't scream. She hadn't touched her resume in 6 years, not since she quit her data entry job to follow Darren across 3 states. He said he'd make enough for both of them. Said she was more than just a job title. Now, she was neither by noon. She'd applied to 12 jobs, cleaning motel rooms late night, stocking at a grocery store, data entry temp work, anything but, with no recent experience, no references, and no degree. Most listings might as well have said, "Only apply if life hasn't completely wrecked you." Around 3 p.m., her stomach growled loud enough to startle the man next to her. She turned off the library computer and left, walking half a mile to a Catholic food bank she'd passed but never entered. Inside, she stared down rows of dented cans, overripe bananas, and expired cereal boxes. An older woman with kind eyes and wrinkled hands approached. "You okay, sweetheart?" Mia nodded. "Just looking." The woman didn't move. "We all just look the first time. Then we take what we need." Mia's lips trembled. She picked up a jar of peanut butter and a loaf of bread with shaking fingers. That night, she made half a sandwich and sat on the floor of her living room, chewing slowly. Above her, a piece of drywall peeled off the ceiling. The next morning, she gathered every item Darren had left behind: his flannels, his dumb vintage vinyl collection, his power tools, and listed them online. A week later, she had $700 to her name. The foreclosure clock was ticking, 14 days. Then, on the 8th day, something strange happened. She was walking back from the laundromat when a man in a work truck pulled up next to her. "Excuse me, are you the one who posted the DeWalt tool set on Marketplace?" Mia blinked. "Yeah, I'm Josh," he said, stepping out. Flannel shirt, sunburnt neck, honest eyes. "I fix up rentals for the county. Mind if I check them out?" She led him back to the house. He looked around the broken railing, the uneven porch, the sad windows, and let out a low whistle. "This place could be beautiful," he said. Mia crossed her arms. It was before everything broke. Josh nodded. Slowly, you selling it? I'm about to lose it. He didn't ask for details. Just glanced at the tools, handed her $300 in cash, and paused before leaving. You ever need work? I hire temp help sometimes. Nothing glamorous. Just drywall, paint, demo. Mia blinked. You'd hire me? You look like someone who doesn't give up, he said with a half smile. Those kinds of people know how to swing a hammer. That night, Mia sat in the dark with $300 in her pocket. It still wasn't enough to save the house, but it was something, maybe. Not a miracle, but maybe the start of earning one. Asterisk, Josh wasn't lying. The work was brutal. Mia showed up on Monday at 6:45 a.m., hair tied back, borrowed gloves, and no clue how to hold a crowbar properly. By noon, her arms ached, her palms blistered, and she had drywall. Dust in places she didn't even know existed, but she didn't complain. When Josh offered her the afternoon off, she shook her head. I need the hours. He nodded. No sympathy, just respect. By Friday, she'd helped rip up rotted floors in a condemned duplex, carried 2 bathtubs out with nothing but brute effort and rope, and repainted a ceiling while balanced on a shaky ladder. And by Friday, she had $600 in cash. Enough to delay the foreclosure by exactly nothing. Still, she tucked it into a plastic bag under the sinker version of a vault. That night, she was patching a crack in the drywall in her own hallway, one she used to beg Darren to fix. The house was silent, but something felt off. She knelt down with a flashlight and noticed something strange. The seam of the wall was too clean, too perfect, like it had been patched on purpose. Curious, Mia fetched the utility knife from Josh's kit. She carved along the seam, slowly peeling back the drywall, revealing a narrow gap between studs. Inside was a sealed manila envelope, taped to the inside of the wall. Her breath caught. She tugged it free, hands trembling. On the front, Darren's handwriting. For emergencies only. Inside, $4,000 in crisp hundreds, a folded note. The message was scrawled, rushed. Mia, if things ever go sideways, this is yours. I screwed up more than you know. I hid this so the wrong people wouldn't find it. I don't expect forgiveness. Just take it and leave if you have to. Mia sat back on her heels, stunned. She should have felt relief. She should have cried. Instead, she whispered, so you could have helped, but didn't. The next morning, she walked to the bank and paid $3,500 toward the foreclosure. It bought her another 30 days, 30 more days to fight, to rebuild, to decide if this place was worth saving, or if she only wanted to win because someone tried. To take it from her, as she left the bank, her phone buzzed. A message from Josh. You still up for work? Got a big job. Could use someone who won't quit. She smiled, despite the ache in her shoulders. I'll be there in 20. The knock came at 10:47 p.m. Mia froze. She was folding laundry, freshly washed work clothes. Nothing fancy. The house was quiet. The porch light was off. No one should have been here. She moved silently to the window and pulled the curtain just enough to see a figure stood under the shadow of the porch roof. Tall, lean leather jacket, a face she hadn't seen in almost 3 months. Darren. She didn't open the door, just yelled through it. Why are you here? His voice came low and rehearsed. Just want to talk. She laughed, a bitter, dry sound. You don't talk. You vanish. You steal. Then you show up like it's a sitcom reunion episode. Mia, please. Against her better judgment, she opened the door. Only halfway, Darren looked. Thinner, greasy, bruises on his cheek, eyes wild. You look good, he said. You look like a mistake I didn't finish deleting. He winced. I need a place to crash. Just for a night, 2, max. No, Mia Common, it's our house. You walked out. You didn't pay the mortgage. You left me to rot. It's not our anything anymore. Darren's jaw tightened. You found the envelope, didn't you? She hesitated. That told him everything. That wasn't all mine, he said. I owed some people. You think I care? Mia snapped. You buried cash in my walls like a drug dealer, then left me to starve while you ran off with God knows who. And now you want a favor? I've got nowhere else good. Nowhere's what you earned. She started to shut the door, but he stepped forward, hand catching the frame. You're not safe here alone, he said, voice dropping. People know I was squatting here. If they think I left something behind, you did, Mia said. A trail of wreckage and some drywall rot. I'm trying to help you get off my porch before I call Josh. Darren's face twisted. That the guy you're screwing now? Contractor boy. No, she said flatly. Just someone who shows up and doesn't lie. For a moment, the look on his face scared her eyes. Darting, FISTSCLENCHING. Then a car passed. Headlights sweeping the porch, like a vampire fearing daylight. Darren backed up into the dark. This isn't over, he said. Yeah, she muttered, locking the door. It is the next morning. She showed up at Josh's site with red-rimmed eyes and drywall tape in her hair. Rough night, he asked. Old ghost, she said. Needed reminding why it's dead. Josh didn't press, just handed her a coffee and a nail gun. But Mia knew one thing for sure now. This house, it wasn't half anymore. It was hers, and anyone trying to take that away was going to meet a very different woman than the one Darren walked out on. The letter came 3 days after Darren's visit. Certified envelope, no return address. Inside, a notice of property claim. Mia scanned it twice, her stomach tightening. Darren had hired a lawyer, claimed the house was rightfully his due to contributions. During marriage, emotional distress, and the most insulting part, abandonment by her. She laughed, but it was the cold, broken laugh of a woman who'd cried too much already. Then she called Josh. You busy? Just finishing up a porch. Why? I need help flipping a war zone into a winning case. Josh didn't ask questions. He just brought tools, paint, and for other workers who owed him favors. By the end of the week, the broken drywall was patched, the front window was replaced, and the kitchen no longer looked like it hosted bar fights. Mia had even scraped off the last remnants of that filthy marker note Darren had left on the fridge. The one that used to read, "This place is mine, you'll see." Now it was blank, stainless. Steel, next stop. Lawyer, her name was Veronica Rains, mid-40s, no nonsense, glasses that looked like they could cut glass. She'd been recommended by a friend of Josh's. First meeting. Mia showed up with photos, receipts, bank statements, and a stack of hand-scribbled dates. Veronica barely blinked. You've got more evidence than half my clients combined. I want to bury him, Mia said, legally, then wear boots. It's about to get muddy. The case to courtroom was beige and boring, but Mia sat straight in the front row as Darren entered with his smug face and even her lawyer, a man who looked like he practiced law in a strip mall. He winked at her. She didn't blink. The Hearing was fast. Veronica stood and calmly dismantled every lie Darren had tried to construct. He wasn't on the deed. He hadn't paid the mortgage since 2021. He disappeared for over 60 days with no contact, which under state law could be considered constructive abandonment. Then came the kicker. Veronica pulled out a printed screenshot of a public post Darren had made 2 months ago. Finally free. Burned the bridge. Don't miss it. The judge didn't smile, but his voice lost some of its formal tone. Mr. Lane, your claim is without foundation. This house legally belongs to Ms. Monroe. If you continue this harassment, the court will consider it grounds for a restraining order. Darren opened his mouth to object. Veronica raised a brow. He shut it. Mia stood, heart pounding. It was over. That night, Josh brought beer and barbecue. They sat on her newly cleaned porch. So, what now? He asked. Mia shrugged. Now, I fix the rest. Patch the upstairs leak. Maybe repaint the bathroom. I don't know, I guess. Rebuild. Sounds like you're staying, he said softly. Wasn't planning to, but this house, it's mine now, not just legally. Emotionally, every crack, every scar. He tapped his beer bottle against hers. 2 scars. 2 earning your damn peace. But peace never comes easy. 2 weeks passed. Mia was up late organizing a cabinet when she heard tires screech outside. Then a bang on the door. Not a knock, a slam. She didn't move. Another bang. She peeked through the peephole and felt her stomach drop. Darren and 2 other men. This wasn't about paperwork anymore. She didn't open the door. She didn't speak. She texted Josh 1 word, now. Then she called 911. 3 men. 1 is my ex. Threatening behavior. I have a restraining order. Dispatch confirmed, officers en route. Downstairs, Darren was shouting. You think this is over? You stole everything. That house is mine. That cash was mine. You owe me, Mia. One of the men kicked the door. It shuddered on its hinges. Her heart pounded, but her hands didn't shake. She grabbed the can of bear spray from the cabinet, not legal in every state, but effective everywhere. They didn't break in. The sirens reached. First, red and blue painted the windows like thunder. The men scattered toward the alley. Darren tried running, but tripped on her garden hose, slamming face first into the ground. He was cuffed and read his rights on her lawn, the same lawn he once made. Her mow alone in the rain. Back inside, Mia stared at her reflection in the front. Door glass tore. Her lips were tight, her jaw set, but her eyes, they didn't look afraid. Not anymore. 1 month later, Veronica helped her file a civil suit. Not for revenge, but to block any further claims from Darren and to formally mark his behavior as domestic economic abuse. The restraining order was granted for 5 years. Darren never showed to contest it. Josh helped Mia install new locks, cameras, and security lighting. And one night, she stood in her living room, arms crossed, heart full. The walls had been repainted. The couch was second-hand, but comfortable. The coffee table was her old dining bench, sanded and re-dash stained. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers, all of it. And then, something unexpected. Day letter arrived. Not from a court, not from Darren. It was from a local community funder program that helped restore homes damaged by domestic situations. Turns out, someone had nominated her anonymously. They offered a $5,000 grant to help complete repairs. on the condition that she let them photograph the progress for their site. She agreed. The day they took the photos, she wore overalls, no makeup, drywall dust in her hair. The headline read, "From broken to builder, how one woman took back her home." It went mildly viral. People sent messages, some kind, some sharing their own battles. One read, "Thank you for proving it's possible to survive. You don't know me, but I needed this." And Mia sat there on the edge of her front porch. The sun dipping low, the sky painted orange-gold. Josh pulled up in his truck, handed her a milkshake instead of beer this time. "You ever think of moving now?" Mia looked out at the street, the cracked pavement, the uneven hedges, the porch light she wired herself. "No," she said. "This is where I became me." He smiled. "You're still becoming." She sipped the milkshake. "Yeah, but this time, no one's kicking me out halfway."